The sports card market is exploding. I mean, cards are going through the roof at all-time highs, and it's crazy. Mr. Wonderful, I just did a video on that. He just bought a dual logo man card. That was MJ and Kobe Bryant autographed, and it went through the roof, $12.9 million. And if you watch Geoff Wilson's latest show, then you know that this card, the iconic Score Bo Jackson card, the Bo Knows, okay? So this card just went through the roof. This card, the iconic Ken Griffey 1989 Upper Deck, is going through the roof. And if you guys are following my channel, then you know about this card. This is the Mickey Mantle signed 1963 that I got autographed at Mickey Mantle's in New York City. This one was worth $3,000 last year. That's actually according to PSA, who authenticated it because they upcharged me and they gave me like, hey, this card is worth $3,000. It's worth around $4,000 today. So with the sports card market exploding, what does that mean for you? Is it time to buy or sell cards? And if you're buying cards, what do you do? All right, I want to thank everybody for joining me. My name is Doc. I've been a collector for 40 years. I'm also a recovering hoarder, which means that I had 8 million cards and I am now down to less than 1 million. Hopefully, I don't know about how much, maybe about 500,000, but I'm trying to get rid of more cards. I have $7,000 worth of cards uploaded to Veriswap. If you want $15 for free, use the link down below and you can get your free $15 in trade credit. Anyway, what are we talking about? We're talking about the exploding sports card market. And what does that mean? Like, what should you do? Should you be buying? Should you be selling? If you're buying, what should you buy? If you're selling, what should you sell? And here's the one thing that I don't think anyone in the hobby is talking about, and that is what the problem with the sports card market is. Now, Geoff Wilson just said that he wanted to compare the SCI index, yes, 500 cards, to the S&P 500. And then he said after he compared it, because he said the SCI index was up 20% and the S&P index is only up 10%. And then after he said that, he says, well, I don't like comparing the two. Well, you just did. So what are you talking about? Problem with sports cards, and here's the issue that everybody that's listening to this, and this is why I think you should be subscribed to my channel, is because I'm actually giving you good advice. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what you should be thinking about so that you don't get screwed. Because one of the things that I'm really happy about is that Geoff Wilson admitted that in 2021, he was the dumbest person in the hobby. He said, I spent so much money on cards in 2021 and I lost a lot. Now, if you guys have seen my most popular video, that's on how much Geoff Wilson has actually lost. That was 2 years ago. He lost over $1 million. You can go back. I will link that video at the end of this episode so you can go watch that. Again, he's lost more than $1 million. Now, I am working with Mind Cycle Cards. That's the person that was responsible for the spreadsheet in that video. I'm working with him to do an update on where Geoff Wilson's cards are right now from that spreadsheet. So how much has he lost? How much has he gained back? We're working on it. There's a lot of cards. There's a lot of research. So I want to give a shout out to Mind Cycle. If you want to see that video, hit subscribe. We're going to be hopefully posting that within the next few weeks. I got a lot to do, so hopefully we'll get to that. Anyway, here's what no one is talking about. And this is the problem with the sports card market. In order for us to be able to know what to buy and what to sell, you need to know how long cards are on the market. And what the biggest issue that I have with eBay is that you can't see days on eBay. That's what you need to know. If you go to buy a house and you go to Zillow or you go to the MLS, it shows you how many days it's on the market. That's what you need to know. Because if a card's sitting on the market longer and longer and longer, you know there's no demand. And when inventory rises up, you know there's too many cards and not enough demand. And again, I also did a video a few days ago on the things that you need to know in order to be in the sports car market. And demand is, the things that you can teach kids, and demand is one of them. And that's the problem, is that there's no transparency in demand. You don't know how long a card's been on the market. So let's say, because this is one of the most heavily traded cards in the hobby. I mean, this card is selling every day. If you have this card, the Ken Griffey 89 Upper Deck rookie card, this is just as liquid as cash. Now, how much can you get? To be quite honest with you, if you wanted to get $30 for this card, you could get $30 instantly. No problem. Anyone would give you $30 for this card, ungraded. Now, graded is a different story, but ungraded, I guarantee you could get $30 for this card any day of the week, which means that this is legit worth $30. Now, could you get more? Yes, you can get more in an auction, possibly on eBay, you can, but remember, there's also fees. And if you're paying for shipping, you got to take that out. So how much do you actually take back from this card? What I'm saying right now is it's $30 cash any day of the week, which means that you know what that card is actually worth. Now, here's the issue. What if, and again, this is a good example. So how many days would this sit on the market? How many days would it sit on the market? How many days would this sit on the market? Now, I'm going to say this is a rarer card. Much like getting an autograph on a 1963 is a lot rarer than this. There were a million of these printed. There's not a million of these. And then autographed, also not a million. So the rarity does make a difference. So if I put this up for $4,000, how long would it sit on the market? I really think it would be less than 30 days. Honestly, I think it would be less than 30 days. I think people would offer me $4,000 like that for this card. In fact, if I did it in an auction, I think this probably could go for $5,000 or $6,000. So I've been trying to figure out, do I want to get rid of it? Do I want to keep it? Right now it's in my PC. I haven't made a decision yet because, again, I got it signed personally. I also was with my father when that happened. My father's no longer with us, and so I'm having some nostalgic issues. If you saw yesterday's video, then you know I'm a nostalgic collector, and so my brain is having difficulty letting go of some things. This is one of them. But again, who cares? Point being is we need to know how many days on the market. We need to know, so when you go to eBay and you see all these cards, I wish that we had this on eBay, how many days on the market, because then I could legitimately go to somebody who's got a card that's been on the market for 2 years that hasn't sold and they're trying to sell it for $20, and I could go like, hey, would you take 10? And hopefully they'd be like, yeah, because it's never going to sell at what they're selling it for. And that would help me out and it would help any collector out, because there's a lot of cards that I would pay you some money. Like, I'm not trying to rip you off, but you're just asking so much more than the market actually is for that card. I understand that's what you want to get for the card, but how much can you actually get for the card? And that's the reason why you need to be very careful if you're trying to invest in sports cards, because there's no long-term strategy for sports cards. Now, I put out a magazine. I created it, Card Hoarder magazine, and the first edition, well, actually it's the second edition, because the first edition is all about the 1950s, but the second edition is about the top 25 recession-proof players. To be quite honest with you, if you watch Geoff Wilson's show, if you had gotten this magazine last year and bought all of those players, you would be up today by 100%. Every one of those cards is up, all 25, because these are the top 25 recession-proof players. That's why I put out the magazine. Now, what will that mean going forward? To be quite honest with you, you should probably be selling those players now. Get top dollar. The market is not going to stay as hot as it is. We're in a bubble. We're in a secondary bubble. And so the question becomes, where is the top? We can't predict that. We don't know where the top is. But because I believe that the economy is ramping up and it's going way too fast, too high, too fast, that means we're in a potential recession on the back end. And once that happens, then the card market will come back down to earth again. And you don't want to be left holding the bag. So what should you be doing? So if you want to buy into this market, be very, very careful. I would look at trying to trade for some of these cards. I wouldn't be using your cash. I'd be using your cards to trade value. That's why I'm on Veriswap, because I think this is the strategy going forward for the next 6 months. Trade your cards. If you can trade up to the top 25 recession-proof players, that was what I would recommend you do, because remember, your cost value in your cards was X. The value's gone up, so use that value to get bigger cards. And then when the market comes back down, remember what you actually paid for the cards. That's the thing, is remember your cost analysis. Remember how much you paid. So if you, let's say you have this in a PSA 10. Again, I don't grade my normal cards. That's just absolutely nuts. So let's say you have this in a PSA 10. Again, the card cost you $2. You graded it for 25, so you're in for $27. And now it's worth, let's say, $400. That's great. You have a huge profit margin on that card. But is this card going to remain a $400 card? The answer is no way. That's impossible. We all know that. But if you sell it for $400, you now have to buy into a hot market, and which means you're going to overpay for whatever card that you want. But what if you traded this card? Remember, you only paid $27 to get a PSA 10, and it's worth $400. What if you trade for another $400 card, but that's a recession-proof player? Like, there are low-grade mantles that you could trade for this card. So trade for the low-end mantle, PSA 1, 1956, or even an ungraded 1956 mantle. Trade it for that. Your cost basis in that mantle is still $27. But you've now traded for a much more high demand card, and you've now gained. So even if the market comes down, remember that card market is only going to come down a little because that card may be worth, so if it's worth $400 right now, the 56 mantle may be only worth $350 or $300 a year from now. This card will probably come back down to $250. You're going to lose more money because this card went through a bubble, but the mantle did not. And that's what you have to do now, is use the value that you've gotten to trade up into other cards, because your cost basis, don't forget how much you actually paid for the card, because now you're trading into a much higher demand card and you're not putting out any cash. I would say cash is king, but hold on to your cash as much as possible. Do as many trades going from now to the end of the year. I think trading is the way to go. So if you go to a sports card shop, like a local shop, trade your cards in for other cards. Try to negotiate, get the price value that you're looking for, and say, okay, I want all of these cards. Try to get your value back in cards, not cash. Remember, don't put cash on the table. Trade your cards for as many high value cards that you can, because then when the market does cool down, you're in a better position going forward. I hope that eBay will, again, only up to you guys. The more people that watch this, the more that eBay will know about it. I hope that eBay adds days on the market or days on eBay, because that would really help the sports card market tremendously, because then you would see how fast some of these cards are selling and what cards are in high demand. And that will give you a better sense of what you should be buying and what you should be staying away from right there. It's like night and day. All right, I want to thank everybody for joining me. If you're not subscribed yet, you need to subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow.